Good evening, everyone. This is your evening news recap, your nightly news podcast on all the news that I come across throughout the day, giving you my take as somebody who aspires to be a politician in the near future. Hopefully, all you guys are doing well. Hopefully, all you guys are having a great day. Today is the 23rd of February, and it is Monday. Hopefully, all you guys had a wonderful weekend. If you're new here, please consider subscribing. All the support would be greatly appreciated as we are trying to reach 1,000 subscribers on YouTube by this summer. And if you're on Substack, please consider subscribing as well. It's $8 a month, and all funds go to me. Helps me pay for the things that I need to pay for in my life, like my groceries, clothing, and all of that. With that being said, I just want to say sorry for not having an episode over the weekend. I was really sick on Sunday and Saturday. I did 3 takes of the episode, and not a single one wanted to have audio, unfortunately. So, there's nothing much I can do about that. I kind of got a little pissed off after that. But if you are interested in yesterday's news and the day before's news, everything is available in a typed news recap on Substack, like I do for every single episode. Outside of that, though, hopefully all you guys are doing wonderful. And let's get into today's episode as we do. Moving on into our headlines in history. This headline is from February 23rd, 1987, and it reads, Andy Warhol, pop artist, dies. Andy Warhol, whose paintings and prints of presidents, movie stars, soup cans, and other icons of America made him one of the most famous artists in the world, died previously day at age 58. The Times wrote he had undergone gallbladder surgery and had a heart attack soon after. The obituary added that Mr. Warhol's talents included uttering the unforgettable quote and finding the single visual image that would most shock and endure. That's definitely very interesting. I've never heard of that person before, but maybe I'll look into him a bit and see what his art was like. I've never heard of that man before, but hey, they're always pretty interesting to see. Outside of that, though, let's move into the headlines from today as we do. Moving on into our highlight, this is something that I wanted to talk about because I keep seeing clips about this, and it kind of annoys me a little bit. This is the Stephen A. Smith's presidential campaign. So, what's the deal with that? For those who don't know, Stephen A. Smith is a sports analyst for ESPN, and I believe he hosts his own show as well. And I trust him to talk about sports. Sometimes he makes some wild takes. I'm going to be honest. I think he's a solid analyst, but I don't trust the man to make a political take or lead the country at all, right? And I don't think anyone should. What business does a sports analyst have in the political world? I mean, let's be real. I know Smith has floated the idea for a while now, right? But after all we've had with Trump, do we really need another TV star to be president in this country? Truly, because that's what Trump was. Trump was a massive TV star, and he has very clearly been a failure. So why would we let a sports analysis TV star or analyst TV star run the country? Truly, like that does nothing to fix the issues at hand. It doesn't. It doesn't at all. It just seems like a horrible idea. We've been a country led by incompetence for ages at this point, and a sports analyst is not going to help or solve that at all. If he was a political analyst, if he did like the stuff that I do, commentating on politics and all that stuff, sure, I'd trust him a lot more. I would trust him to be a politician. I would trust him to be a representative and maybe even become a president one day. Absolutely. Because he would have actually been involved in the space and is actually doing research in the space, right? But that's not what he is. He's a sports analyst. He's going out there and he's talking about who LeBron is going to be in the finals, who, Tom Brady is being compared to against as the greatest quarterback of all time. He's not going out there and talking about, what laws Donald Trump is signing into law or, what's going on with the Epstein files. He's talking about sports. And I don't think anyone who is talking about sports respectfully should be in office. In other news, moving on into the Trump administration segment, Kash Patel has been caught at the Olympics on the taxpayer's dime. Kash Patel flew to Milan's Winter Olympics on your taxpayer dollar to celebrate and drink with the U.S. men's hockey team following their win, despite a spokesperson saying that it was fake news and that Patel wouldn't be there. Patel didn't even try to hide it, posting photos of himself in the locker room on Twitter. And in this post, he wrote, Unity, sacrificed, attitude. That's what it takes to be the best in the world. These men live and breathe it. Now Team USA are gold medal champions, legends standing on the shoulders of giants. Thank you for representing the greatest country on earth and the greatest game ever created. how would not a single person in this administration has been removed from office for anything is beyond me. I mean, the corruption, it's left and right. It really is. It's wherever you go, there is something going on, and it's just wild. And Patel is one of the biggest issues with that. There have been calls for his resignation since the start. And the fact that he hasn't been removed yet to me is wild, but it doesn't shock me. I mean, he's a yes man, and that's the kind of guy Trump wants, right? Um, you know, even after his own people said he wouldn't be there, he still went on the internet and posted pictures. What are we doing, dude? Like, how dumb do you have to be? Because I guarantee you there were people in his ear telling him, yeah, we know you're going to go to this. Do not post anything. We already said to the media that you will not be there. Do not post anything. It'll be a very bad look. And he did it anyways, right? I mean, these people are supposed to be leading the country, and instead they're drinking in Milan. Like, what are we doing, guys? What is going on? In other news, moving on to our segment about ICE, this is a really interesting one as a whistleblower has come out. A whistleblower for ICE has come out accusing the agency of lying about their training, including the legal training over if they are permitted to use deadly force. Ryan Schwank, a former ICE lawyer, said the training has been pared down to a point where it is deficient, defective, and broken, and accused ICE leaders of shielding this training to a point from the public eye. Schwank said, for the last 5 months, I've watched ICE dismantle the training program, cut 240 hours of vital classes from 584-hour programs. Classes teach the Constitution, our legal system, firearms training, the use of force, lawful arrest, and proper detention, and the limits of officers' authority. He said they ceased all legal instructions regarding the use of force entirely. This doesn't shock me to hear, as insane as this is, right? So many people have been killed by ICE so far this year. They are trying to bring in as many agents as possible while a shitload of agents are also leaving at the same time, right? And it's absolutely absurd. They need to be shut down entirely. No agency, especially an agency that is armed regularly, should be allowed to operate without the proper training. No agency at all. It is absolutely insane that we have documented death of people from this agency and very little repercussions have been made. I know the Department of Homeland Security is in a shutdown right now because Democrats in office or Democratic lawmakers in office are trying to, argue for them to lose funding, right? But outside of that, nothing really has been done for these people who very clearly do not have very much training, right? Far too many jobs, need way more training than this. Like, it takes way more time to be certified to, be like a nail tech. If I want to go get my nails done, it takes, somebody way more time to be certified in that position than it does for somebody who is an armed masked agent walking through the streets of the United States, right? And that is a problem. That that should be seen as a problem on so many levels. I mean, ICE should very clearly be trained professionally. This is an agency who is going out there and conducting immigration authority. And as much as I don't agree with that, you would hope that they would be at least trained to do their job professionally, right? But it's very clear that they are not. And that is an issue on multiple levels. It's been an issue throughout this entire administration. It's something that hopefully we can stop. I mean, it really just depends on if Democratic lawmakers have a backbone or not, right? And moving on into our section about the Epstein files, where we also have one topic here for tonight. Peter Mandelson has been arrested for his Epstein connections. Former British ambassador to the United States, Peter Mandelson, has been arrested by British police over his relationship with Jeffrey Epstein. The 72-year-old man was arrested on suspicion of misconduct in office and is being interviewed at a London police station. Mandelson has denied anything related to Epstein or a connection to the files. You know, Arrests here are great to see, of course, and I cannot wait to see who they arrest next because anyone, involved in these files, should be prosecuted, right? Especially if they are in the files for horrendous reasons. I really do hope that someone here in the United States could be arrested next. That would be great. But it's nice to see that other countries in Europe are, working very efficiently and, doing the investigations and arresting people, right? I don't think that we will see any arrests in the United States for a while, unfortunately. But everyone involved in these files should be prosecuted at the very least. And by very least, I mean very least. I apologize for the sniffles. I'm still sick. My nose is still stuffy. Outside of that, though, before we move into our other news segment today, I just wanted to talk about my new show, Talking to My Generation. It's the new show that I've been planning and working on for the past few months now. And it's been in the work. I recorded the first episode last night. I meant to talk about this in yesterday's episode, and unfortunately, there was no audio. But I recorded the first episode last night. It was a very good episode. I did it with my good friend Simon. He's a Canadian, and for those of you who are wondering why I, did the first show with a Canadian, it's because none of my other friends were brave enough to do the first episode. But hey, that's just how it goes, right? And a lot of people are excited to do episodes after that. Just nobody wanted to do the first one, which I get. I mean, I understand that's a lot of pressure. But hey, it was a great episode. I really loved the recording. I plan on editing it throughout this week if I can figure out this editing software that my friend recommended me. We'll see how that goes. But outside of that, I'm really excited to show all of you guys this new series. It'll be premiering on a Saturday or Sunday right after we hit 1,000 subscribers. And if you want to see it before then, after I finish editing it, if we don't hit 1,000 subscribers by then, become a paid subscriber on Substack. This will be, for the most part, a YouTube exclusive, except for Substack paid subscribers who will have access to it early. Outside of that, though, it will be on YouTube. I don't plan on releasing it for non-paid subscribers on Substack. No offense, I just don't want to clutter people's inboxes more than I already do, right? But outside of that, I believe the process for these. I don't know when I'm going to record the next episode, but the process for this little new series will be I'll release them on weekends. The goal is to interview Gen Z people within my generation on the political economic state of the world, to kind of get their views and their opinions on it. And I know a lot of people from in other countries around the world, so I think it will definitely be interesting. An opportunity to see how other people view the United States, right? Um, but outside of that, I really enjoyed recording that episode. I'm really excited for everyone to see it. And drop a subscribe if you're new, if you want to see that. And if you want to see it early, go be a paid subscriber on Substack. It's $8 a month, and all funds go to me. Anyways, moving on into our other news segment, though, we have a really interesting topic here. As the Mexican cartel leader has been killed. The Mexican military has killed one of the country's most prominent cartel leaders, Nermeso Oseguera Cervantes. More than 70 people died in this attempt to capture the man for being a notorious leader of the Jalisco New Generation cartel, leader known as El Mencho. He was the boss of one of the fastest growing criminal networks in Mexico, known for trafficking things like fentanyl, methamphetamine, and cocaine into the United States. This, of course, is good news. And from what I've heard, the United States played a role in intelligence support on this, which is kind of a big deal and shows, in a way, the complicity coming from the side of Mexico that we haven't really seen before, which I find very interesting. I had this discussion in one of my classes earlier today, and I really hadn't heard much about the situation since I was sick most of this weekend. But it definitely is interesting, and I plan on doing some more research. Of course, cartels aren't great. They are taking advantage of the poor government in Mexico and the very not powerful government in Mexico, right? And that's something that needs to change, right? And not much I can do for that regard as an American, but um, I do think that Mexico should, go and defend and take out these cartels. And if the United States can provide intelligence to help support them in that regard, I think we absolutely should. I don't think U.S. troops should be on the ground without Mexico's permission at all. But I think if we can support them with intelligence, I think we absolutely should. In other news, Gavin Newsom has made some interesting remarks during an interview, I believe, a day or so ago. And I got a lot of flack for my opinions on this, and I'll talk about this a little in my discussion apart on this. But let's get into it. Gavin Newsom held an interview at an Atlanta book event where he told a largely black audience that he was just like them because he had low SAT scores and struggled to read speeches. Newsom said, I'm not trying to impress you. I'm trying to impress upon you. I'm like you. I'm not better than you. I'm a 960 SAT guy, and I'm not trying to offend anyone. I'm not trying to act all there if you got a 940, literally a 960 SAT guy. You've never seen me read a speech because I cannot read a speech, maybe the wrong business to be in. I would say that Newsom, was in the wrong business before, and after this, I don't think he should ever hold any form of public office again. Um, he went on stage with a predominantly black crowd. And it was a predominantly black crowd. Multiple articles. I believe The Hill said this. Off the top of my head, that's the only one I can remember. But multiple articles did in fact say that it was a, um, you know, predominantly black crowd, and essentially said, "I'm just like you. I can't read. I have a low SAT score," which unfortunately is a stereotype for the black community, and not something anyone should really ever be saying to a crowd in general, whether they're black, white, whatever color they are, right? A lot of people didn't like that comment I had to say on that. And I it claim that they claimed that he wasn't being the people who commented against my opinions on this said that they claimed he wasn't being racist because he was talking about his struggle with education, and wasn't trying to put people down in a sense, but was just trying to use that moderate Democrat appeal of saying, "Hey, I'm like you. I struggle as well." And sure, maybe that would have been the case, and I could get that argument, but the way I interpreted that and the way that I saw all of the clips of him making this statement today, it to me at least, I didn't interpret that as being the case. It seemed, kind of in a way like he was trying to put people down, and maybe I'm just interpreting it wrong, but it really does seem like a wild thing to say in the first place, and I don't think that's something he should have said at all, really. Um, you know, especially in that position, and again maybe I'm interpreting it wrong, but it just seems like a wild thing to say, to go in front of a crowd to say, "I'm just like you. I'm not very smart, and I can't read," right? That to me just doesn't seem like something a political figure or a figure in any sense should be going in front of a crowd and saying, especially to a predominantly black crowd where that stereotype does unfortunately exist. And maybe I'm interpreting it wrong. If I am, I apologize for that. But, at the end of the day, like, this man never should be president, right? He's not a good person. And we really need more people to recognize that, because he's not going to be any better than Trump. With that being said, though, thank you everyone for watching today's episode. I hope you all enjoyed. It has definitely been a very interesting day in the news world, that is for sure. If you're new here, though, please consider subscribing. All the support would be greatly appreciated, as we are trying to reach 1,000 subscribers on YouTube by this summer. And if you're on Substack, please consider subscribing as well. It's $8 a month, and all funds go to me. It helps me pay for the things that I need to pay for in my life, like my groceries, like my clothing, like all of that. But with that being said, that's all I have for today. I want to give a huge thank you to our paid subscribers in Sean Zone and Nan. And I want to thank you all for watching today's episode, and I will see you all in tomorrow's.